First tonight at 6, accountant by day, human trafficker by night. That's the accusation one man faces in jail on charges of holding sex slaves in his home.
Another suspicious letter has been sent to an agency in Marion County to find out if it's connected to yesterday's 10 similar cases.
And there was more than arson going on in the North Central Florida fires Sunday morning. Find out what connection one of the accused firebugs has with the fire department. Those stories and more. The TV 20 News at 6 starts now.
From your local source, WCJB TV 20, this is TV 20 News at 6.
We start with the developments in the arrest of an accountant charged with human trafficking. Good evening. Gainesville police say Timothy Deegan used his victims as sex slaves. Deegan is in the Alachua County jail tonight after his arrest on Friday.
That's after a year-long investigation. TV 20's Kyla Ryan reports some residents say they've been trying to get their neighbor arrested for a while now.
For about a year, Paige, some neighbors say they've seen unfamiliar cars going in and out of Timothy Deegan's Northwest Gainesville home. Even today, while Deegan sits in jail, a car pulled into his home and a man went inside. Some cars leaving when they saw our cameras. All this in an affluent, quiet neighborhood. Looks can be deceiving when it comes to Timothy Deegan's home in the 1600 block of 106th Way.
Increase my awareness of how dangerous it can be in certain, if you're not aware.
Tootie Ritchie, who lives just outside the subdivision, says she's lived in this quiet part of Northwest Gainesville for over 20 years and has never heard of anything quite like this.
I said it's like a television show.
And what law enforcement is accusing Timothy Deegan of, a public accountant in Gainesville who's lived in this home for about a decade, isn't something they often see in this area.
It's a modern day slavery.
Derry Lloyd with the state attorney's office says there's possibly 3 victims of this sex slavery.
The victims and the defendant have known each other for about a year. So during that time frame, all the acts have been alleged to occur within that time frame.
Deegan allegedly had cameras all over his home filming the victims without their consent. When we were there today, a car drove up and someone went inside as Deegan sits in jail. One neighbor says they've called police on Deegan many times, and another says they never heard anything.
Any neighbor that sees anything that doesn't quite fit for their community should report it. In this case, they did.
The report has more details on this house of horrors, where victims claim Deegan had traps and weapons in the house and would remove doorknobs to keep them locked inside. Deegan has a prior drug arrest and in December of last year was arrested for sexual battery after a victim claims they were raped on film. That charge is being included in his 3 human trafficking charges.
I think I should be better aware of people in the neighborhood.
And after he was arrested for sexual battery, the sheriff's office conducted a search warrant in May and then made Deegan's arrest on Friday. He is being held on a $300,000 bond. If convicted, the maximum sentence for his 3 charges is 90 years in prison. Kyla Ryan, TV 20 News.
Taking a first look at the weather now for North Central Florida. After a rainy day, it's quiet this evening.
Chief Meteorologist Bill Quillen is here. Bill, can we expect any more rain this evening?
You know, there may be a few sprinkles to the south, but most areas will remain dry, even though the clouds will stick around for a little while longer. Take a look at our viewer photo for today. Coming in from Paints Prairie, Lloyd from Gainesville is showing this photo today. It's been pretty nice in the morning hours with the clouds building back in, with the showers also moving into North Central Florida. Looking at the storm vision radar now, well, most of the shower activity is pushing away. We have light sprinkles down Citrus County and Levy County moving onshore, but not expect to see a lot more rain this evening. Overnight, however, and early tomorrow morning, there may be some more rain in our future. 79 degrees right now, south-southeast winds at 8, humidity at about 77%, giving a heat index in the mid to upper 80s even at this hour. A mostly quiet evening, a few showers overnight, and then more storms expected by your Thursday. More on that coming up in a few minutes.
New details tonight about those suspicious letters delivered to locations around Marion County. Another green envelope was received today, making it the 11th discovered in 2 days. The Marion County Fire Rescue Hazmat team responded to the sheriff's office when an employee there found the envelope addressed to Sheriff Chris Blair. The letter was received yesterday, but only got sorted today. Hazmat teams declared the white powder inside to be not hazardous, but weren't able to confirm that it was artificial sweetener. 10 different locations around the county received similar letters yesterday, and they were all filled with artificial sweetener. The envelope discovered today has been sent to a lab for further testing.
New details tonight in the apparent arsons over the weekend. Mobile home residents in Citra will sleep better tonight. 3 people have been arrested for starting fires that burned down 4 homes over the weekend. And tonight, we're learning more about the suspected arsonist. TV 20's Lauren Latilli reports one of the suspects went from fighting fires to perhaps starting them.
According to the state fire marshal's office, Kenneth Baer couldn't pass the state exam to become a volunteer firefighter. But those who knew him say he worked for the Citra Volunteer Fire Department before it was dissolved, and they saw it that he committed his first arsons, and apparently they wouldn't be his last.
That's the first thing we all said. Kenny's at it again.
Pearl Floyd's 97-year-old bedridden mother wasn't in her house when it was set on fire Sunday. But the first suspect that came to her mind was Kenneth Baer, who Floyd says used to work as a volunteer at the Citra Fire Department.
And he would go out and set fires. And then he would call the fire department and go out and help them put them out. And that's what he served time for.
We couldn't confirm that statement today, but officials at the state fire marshal's office did say in 1992, Baer took the basic test to become a certified volunteer firefighter and failed, only by 6 points. They also said he was never included on any fire department rosters, even in Citra. 6 years later, Baer went to prison from 1998 to 2002 for 4 counts of arson.
Based on the interviews, we believe they deliberately targeted homes that were not occupied.
Baer, his girlfriend Katrina Cron, and a juvenile who was an acquaintance are accused of setting fires to 4 vacant mobile homes Sunday evening. Detectives say they used toilet paper and small containers filled with fuel to start the fires.
From what we can tell, they were drinking that night, and whether it's out of boredom or they just wanted to get into some mischief, they decided to go out and set some homes on fire.
97-year-old Leslie Pymel has always been afraid of fire and has lost sleep over her house being burnt down. She has only one question for the arsonists.
Well, all I could say would be, why me? Why did you do that?
Those who have watched their mother's life go up in flames only have one thing to say now that the suspects are behind bars. Do you feel victory today?
Yes. I hope they burn him.
Marion County Fire Rescue told me that Baer applied to volunteer there in November of 1994. His application was denied and no reason was given. Baer, Cron, and the juvenile are being charged with arson and burglary of an unoccupied dwelling. Lauren Latillier, TV 20 News.
New tonight out of Williston, a burglary investigation leads to the arrest of a pawn shop broker. Last month, police officers responded to a residential burglary on Northeast 3rd Avenue in Williston. The suspect, 21-year-old Brandon Auscherman, confessed to the burglary and selling stolen goods at a nearby pawn shop. 64-year-old Daniel Mall told police he didn't know anything about stolen goods originally, but when they came back for them, he handed them over. He was arrested and has since bonded out of the Levy County Jail. Auscherman, though, remains in custody.
There's no monkeying around when it comes to business at the Jungle Friend Sanctuary in Alachua County. After months of debate, the commission approved their request for a 20-acre expansion. This land will give the space for 100 new critically endangered monkeys. If the sanctuary didn't get the go-ahead, they say hundreds of monkeys would have to be moved elsewhere with a high chance of dying due to their sensitivity. Some neighbors are worried about the noise and smell due to the expansion, but those who work at Jungle Friends are not concerned.
When we gave our workshop, there were, I forget how many anonymous complaints came in. All of them were unfounded.
Sanctuary is not open to the public, just for volunteers. It becomes a home for monkeys coming from research labs, unwanted homes, and universities.
Still to come, it's a 17-mile detour that has some residents up in arms.
But will a North Central Florida road be ready ahead of schedule? Find out next.
Watching WCJB TV 20 News at 6 with Paige Beck, David Snyder, meteorologist Bill Quinlan, and sports with Adam Solomon.
Welcome back. A major road closure in north central Florida will end sooner than expected. CSX transportation crews are almost finished replacing the railroad crossing at US 301 near Hawthorne.
And the road's heavily traveled with 8,900 vehicles driving over the railroad crossing every day. 29% of them are semi-trucks. TV20's Nico Clemens reports during the closures, these semis are causing some unanticipated problems.
US 301 has been closed since Saturday, which has created two detours, one for cars and one for trucks. 325 right here behind me is designated for cars, but several residents are complaining that semi-trucks are making their way down these roads, creating potholes. And that's not the only problem. Residents are also complaining about the trash buildup along 325.
It is. It's very frustrating.
Christy Bogue says ever since she and her husband moved out here about 5 years ago, the road they live along, County Road 325, seems to get no love.
We live out here to be away from the city and the traffic, and then have, semis coming through here and trashing the place.
During construction at the US 301 railroad crossing, specific detours were put in place to accommodate all vehicles, big and small. FDOT officials say County Road 325 is not equipped to take such a heavy load, but it doesn't matter for many truck drivers.
The trucks were ignoring the warning signs and variable message boards posted at each end of where the detours began for them, which was US 441.
Semi-trucks are being rerouted in the Ocala area if they're heading northbound, and in the southbound area where Waldo Road comes in near Gainesville. But 325 is a shorter distance to get back onto 301.
We really don't like all the trash being all along the ditches. We've seen where the semis have run off the road and they're, putting ruts in the sides of the road.
Bogue says when it comes to the road in front of her house, it's a complete mess. She just wants all the trash to be cleaned up and for the potholes to be fixed.
After the complaints and the concerns, we posted more boards and more law enforcement at the areas of where the truck detour begins, and they were now being rerouted off at the actual detour.
Rebecca White says if the work continues to go well and the rain holds up, US 301, which was expected to reopen Saturday, will reopen again later this evening. And you can go to our website at WCJB.com to find out when this road will exactly open. Reporting in Hawthorne, Nico Clemens, TV20 News.
We had just a little bit of everything weather-wise around north central Florida today except snow.
Bill, if you have to work outdoors in this weather, it's starting to get hot.
Yeah, the temperatures will be staying with us right around 90 degrees. The heat index close to 100, maybe a little bit above, but will we get those cooling rain showers in the afternoon? More on that in a few minutes. Well, usually when we get the rain in early, it leaves early. That's exactly what happened this afternoon, and we'll probably see a few more showers even early tomorrow morning, and the thunderstorm activity building back in late tomorrow afternoon. Right now, things quieting down. Temperature 86 for the high today, but we've only warmed back up into the low 80s this afternoon after the clouds have stuck around for a bit, starting out in the upper 60s, and we'll be right on that spot as we head overnight again into early tomorrow morning. Temperature 79 in Gainesville right now, 75 Ocala. 84 where we haven't seen any rain back in Lake City, 82 across city, 79 at Cedar Keys. So the rain-cooled spots seeing higher humidity, but it's going to be a pretty nice evening. Just a light breeze out of the south for today. Not much of a East Coast sea breeze. Westerly winds just a little too strong today, and that kept everything off to the east. And with the cloud cover not heating up the ground enough to produce that East Coast sea breeze, how everything moved in from the west. A line in the upper level of the atmosphere helped to push this storms out to the east and to the southeast, and then firing up as it heads offshore into the Gulf Stream waters. The St. Augustine, Daytona Beach had one report of a wind gust near Flagler Beach in Brunel about 41 miles per hour. So some gusty winds even with a few of these storms. The rest of the state of Florida not looking too bad, getting some activity down in the south. You see they're clearing out now, but this line is going to continue out in the Gulf of Mexico, moving to Tampa, Fort Myers, even Naples, and Key West could see some more showers. But here in north central Florida, for now we're looking quiet, but there's a little flare-up in the northern Gulf that may be moving in here as we head through the overnight and early tomorrow morning. That's when we'll start to get more of a chance of rain. And as we heat up tomorrow afternoon, the showers will return back across north central Florida. Severe weather threat here is limited, but back to the north along the east coast, you can see a possibility of maybe some isolated tornadoes in parts of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Virginia, northern Virginia, north of the nation's capital, but we will see a chance of more showers and thunderstorms moving in, even with some drier air trying to move into the forecast. It may dry out a little bit for the weekend, but for the next couple of days, still a chance of rain with general thunderstorm activity all across the southeast. The severe weather threat bottles up back into the southern plains and the lower Mississippi River Valley. We'll be watching the clouds kind of dissipate a bit as we head overnight. Showers and thunderstorms again early tomorrow morning. By tomorrow afternoon, late in the day, things will quiet down, but then we'll get another round of showers and storms on Friday. For the weekend, a little bit less chance of rain on Saturday and more rain building in for your Sunday. 69 as we head overnight tonight. We'll go partly cloudy skies. Isolated chance of a shower or thunder shower early tomorrow morning. We'll put it into the overnight hours. Partly sunny at best tomorrow. 88 for high. Showers and thunderstorms likely during the daytime hours. Then quieting down late tomorrow evening. 2 to 4 foot seas St. Augustine. 2 to 3 foot seas southwest winds 10 to 15 knots. A bit choppy over at Cedar Key, but not too bad. No advisories at this time. Rain chances drop off to 50% on Friday, 50% on Saturday, and 40% on Sunday. And the rain chances stay right about that 40 to 50% all the way through the middle of next week. Forecast fact, what must the size of hailstone be in order to trigger a severe thunderstorm warning? A, a half inch, B, 1 inch, or C, 2 inches. So 2 inches would be a pretty big hailstone. 1 inch, about the size of a quarter. So that's how you can measure if you're expecting to see a severe thunderstorm warning. If you have a hailstone that's about an inch wide, about a quarter wide, that's when you're going to get the warning issued by the National Weather Service.
I think if you see those bouncing around, you're going to run inside anyways,
That's
aren't
true.
you? Okay, thanks, Bill.
A former Jeffrey Meldon Scholar athlete is ready to shine on the biggest stage.
TV 20 Sports Director Adam Solomon caught up with Will Allen on his way to the College World Series.
That's right, David and Paige. The former Buchholz Bobcat is a key piece on the Ole Miss baseball team. It is an exciting time for the now senior, and we'll get you ready for the Game 4 of the NHL Finals. The hockey season could be coming to a close tonight. Sports is coming up after the break. Welcome back. Well, it was a postseason to forget for the Florida baseball team. It's definitely one to remember for Gainesville, at least. Will Allen, the former Buchholz Bobcat turned Ole Miss Rebel, is headed to the College World Series in his final year at the university. Ole Miss rolled through their regional pairings, a 3-0 sweep, and followed that up with a 2-1 series win over Louisiana Lafayette in the Super Regionals, a team that was ranked as the best team in the country by most. Allen was then drafted in the 13th round of the MLB draft by the Detroit Tigers. But it's Virginia that is up next for Allen and the Rebels. The former Jeffrey Meldon TV 20 Scholar Athlete of the Week is headed to Omaha for the College World Series, and it's about time.
It's an unbelievable feeling, you know, be my 4th year and as a senior, just for this this group of older guys, the seniors, and I mean the coaching staff. I mean we went through a lot during the fall just to make sure we were tough enough and ready for the grind of the season. But I mean obviously it paid off, and I mean we're extremely pumped about it. Just to go to Omaha, you know, that's every college baseball player's dream. Gainesville is still my home. Family still lives there. My sister's in law school at UF. I mean that's always going to be my home, but right now I'm finishing up at Ole Miss and just trying to leave my own legacy here.
Well, in last night's baseball, the current pros putting on a show. Despite his team losing 2-1 in 14 innings, Oakland's Yoenis Cespedes gave us the highlight of the night. Tied at 1 in the 8th, Mike Trout with a shot to left. Howie Kendrick looking to score. Cespedes misplays it there at first, sees Howie headed home, cocks back and fires a 300-foot missile, and he's got him at home. His 8th outfield assist of the season, leads Major League Baseball as we see the replay there, and without a doubt, none prettier than that one. Game 4 of the NHL Finals is tonight. The Los Angeles Kings in control through 3 games, up 3-0 on the New York Rangers. The Kings were able to eke out overtime wins in games 1 and 2 before jumping out to a 2-0 lead in game 3, eventually winning the game 3-0. Now, game 3 saw no scoring from New York in the first NHL Finals game at Madison Square Garden since 1994, and we haven't had a sweep in the NHL Finals since Detroit did it back to Washington way back in 1998. Not exactly what Miami Heat fans had in mind in the first NBA Finals game back in Miami since last year. A 19-point win by San Antonio that was really never close. The Spurs led by 21 at the break, and while it did get down to single digits, the Spurs always coming up with an answer, shooting just under 60% for the game. And if you yourself as a team shoot 51% from the field and still lose by 19 points as Miami did, it's clear what the problem is.
Some of them was mental breakdowns, and the mental breakdowns happened early, and then there was a avalanche, and they started to get hot. And versus the Spurs, any little minor mistake that you make, they will make you pay. And even when you let them get in such a groove like they had last night, even when you are on top of things, once they got into the groove, it was no slowing them down.
Well, last but certainly not least, some news from Will Muschamp today. Wide receivers coach Joker Phillips has resigned his position at UF, and former Gator QB Chris Leak will take his place effective immediately for the 2014 season. The national champion with the Gators is entering his second season as on Florida's coaching staff. Last year he was a graduate assistant at UF. Now, Joker saying his leaving was for personal reasons, but reports coming out just now, a few minutes ago, that Phillips' leaving may have been forced by Muschamp due to possible recruiting violations committed by Phillips. More on that, obviously, as we get it.
Yeah, wow, that's a bad situation.
Yes.
But we're getting a lot of positive response about Chris Leak actually stepping up and taking that full-time job.
I mean, when you're a winner with a team and now you're coaching them, everybody's going to be happy.
All right, thanks, Sam, very much.
We'll be right back. Let's take one more look at the weather for tonight.
You know, the showers moved in, moved out pretty early this afternoon. Still a few light showers, Cedar Key and down into Citrus County near, I would say, Crystal River, but that's about it. Overnight, things will quiet down, but by early tomorrow morning, you may see a few more showers building back in. Temperatures in the upper 60s to low 70s. Tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms likely. Temperatures back into the upper 80s. High humidity, heat index pretty close to 100, so get ready for that if your outdoor activities for tomorrow.
It's been a moist week.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us.